Have you ever waded into the world of home theater and just felt completely lost in all the tech jargon? Well, today we're going to demystify all of it. We're using the fantastic Home Theater 101 guide from Reddit to build your confidence from the ground up. So let's dive in.
Okay, right off the bat, our source sets a very clear and, let's be honest, a kind of feisty baseline for what we're talking about today. See, it's not just about having a pretty screen. A real home theater is a system with separate parts all working together to create that immersive feeling. And yep, they've got some strong opinions on certain TVs.
So, here's our game plan. We'll start with what a home theater even is. Then we'll decode those confusing numbers you always see. After that, we'll meet the whole speaker family, get to know the system's brain, and finish up with the golden rules of placement. All right, Section 1. What exactly defines a home theater? Well, the main idea from our guide is that we're moving beyond a simple, single soundbar and into a world of separate, dedicated components that all play together.
The guide really boils it down to three key building blocks. First, you need at least a 2.0 speaker system. That means separate left and right speakers. Second, you need an amplifier, or more commonly, an audio-video receiver, an AVR, to power those speakers. And third, of course, you need a screen for the visuals. That right there, that's the foundation. Okay, let's tackle the part that often feels like you're trying to learn a new language. All those numbers, 5.1, 7.2.4, what on earth does it all mean? Don't worry, I promise it's actually way simpler than it looks.
Let's just break down the code with a really common example. 5.1.2. That first number, the 5, that's for your speakers at ear level. The second number, the 1, that's your subwoofer for all that deep bass. And that third number, the 2, that's for height speakers, the ones that create that amazing 3D sound bubble all around you.
And the great thing is, the system just scales up from there. So a 7.14 setup, that just means you've got 7 speakers at ear level, 1 sub, and 4 speakers up high. This is how you get that truly mind-blowing, sound from everywhere cinematic experience right in your living room.
So here's a quick little cheat sheet for you. A simple 2.0, that's your classic stereo. The 5.1 setup is the gold standard for surround sound. It adds that center speaker, side surrounds, and a sub. And anything like 5.1.2 and beyond, well, that's when you're stepping into the incredible world of immersive audio, like Dolby Atmos.
Now that we get the layouts, let's actually meet the speakers themselves. The best way to think about them is like a sports team. Every single player has a very specific job, and they all have to work together perfectly to win the game, or, create an amazing movie experience.
So here's our starting lineup. You've got your big tower speakers, the more compact bookshelf speakers, the absolutely critical center channel, your surround speakers for all those cool effects, and of course, the subwoofer for that room-shaking rumble.
Now, I've got to share this crucial piece of insight from our guide. If there is only one speaker you can prioritize, one you can spend a little extra on, make it the center channel. It is, without a doubt, the MVP of your entire system. Why? Because almost all of the dialogue in a movie comes from that one speaker. A great center means voices are crystal clear. A bad one means you're going to be rewinding all the time asking, wait, what did they just say?
So you're going to see speakers marketed as either a two-way or three-way. A two-way speaker just splits the sound between a woofer for lows and a tweeter for highs. A three-way adds a dedicated driver just for the mid-range. Now, it's totally natural to think, well, 3 must be better than 2, right? But the guide makes a fantastic point here. Building a good three-way speaker is way more complex and expensive, so a really well-designed two-way can often sound much better than a cheaply made three-way. More isn't always better.
Okay, so we've got our team of speakers, but what's the coach? What tells them all what to do? Well, that brings us to the brain of the entire operation, the audio/video receiver, or AVR.
Just think of the AVR as your system's command center. Everything, your game console, your streaming box, your Blu-ray player, it all plugs into the back of this thing. The AVR then decodes all the audio, sends the right sound to the right speaker at the right time, and passes the video signal straight through to your TV or projector.
Now, this is probably one of the biggest questions beginners have. When you shop for AVRs, they all love to brag about how many watts of power they have. It's a huge number on the box, so you've got to need a ton of power, right? What if I told you the most important number to think about is just 1?
That's right, the Reddit guide points out that with a typical speaker, just 1 single watt of power is enough to produce sound so loud it could actually cause hearing damage over time. So what's the big takeaway? Don't obsess over wattage. Honestly, pretty much any modern receiver you can buy has more than enough power for the average room.
And here we are, our final section. And you know what? It might just be the most important one. You can have the most expensive gear in the entire world, but if you just plop it down without thinking, it's not going to sound good. Getting the placement right is the single biggest upgrade you can make, and the best part, it's totally free. So here are the golden rules. Rule 1, your front 3 speakers, left, center, and right, should be aimed right at your ears when you're sitting down. Rule 2, your surround speakers go to your sides, or maybe just a little bit behind you. Rule 3, lift those surrounds up a foot or two above your head. And Rule 4, please keep your main surround speakers out of the ceiling. That's a special job just for dedicated height speakers.
And here is a fantastic pro tip for the most common problem people run into. It's really hard to get that center channel right at ear level because, well, the TV is in the way, right? The solution is actually pretty simple. Just put it directly above or below the screen and then just tilt it so it's aimed right at your face. I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference.
So let's bring it all home. What did we learn? A real home theater system has separate speakers and an AVR. Those speaker numbers like 5.1.2, they're just a simple code for your layout. Remember, a good two-way speaker can totally smoke a budget three-way. And most importantly, where you put your speakers matters so much more than how many watts your receiver has.
You now have the fundamental knowledge, the blueprint, to get started without being overwhelmed. The only question left is, what piece of your dream home theater are you going to build first? Thanks for joining us for this explainer.